Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Through the Pages. Today I have a book from a man who's gotten very popular recently, at least on Twitter and then Instagram, where it's pretty much just those tweets shared there. Robert Reich, and his Reich, I think. But his book, The System. This is his 19th book. So he is an economist, professor, an economic advisor to multiple administrations, Carter, Clinton, Obama, and Gerald Ford, too. So, not a young man, and I don't necessarily see eye to eye with him on everything in the book, but I like where he's coming at on it. It's very specific, what he's kind of targeting here. At first, it almost seemed like a grudge. And that's not necessarily where I want to learn from. Regardless of how much fact is in there, it hits me wrong. Like, I feel like I'm not getting the full slant. And it was a very apparent grudge right out of the gate. So he kind of hammers, rightfully so, though, I will say, on this man Jamie Dimon, I think it was his name. Yeah, he doesn't deserve to have that any good say in here. So a big banker man, and so he owned one of the biggest banks in the country during the crash. Kind of hopped around financial institutions, so just cushy job to cushy job, but just displacing capital from the working class into his own pockets. Basically is just what that profession is. And so it's not like a recanting of the 2008 crash. It's not how it happened, but it details some of the key players in it, and how they're still just kind of doing their thing, how they then kind of mingled with Trump, and it was fascinating to better understand our current system and the players who make it tick, because a lot of them aren't elected. It's other people out there, and so it was very helpful for that. But I just don't understand how someone can support such policies that help the working class so much, that do redistribute wealth, but is so scared to say socialist. Like, we gotta get over that. And that's kind of where this is frustrating, where like I would almost recommend that book a lot, but then I'm just like, no, like literally the bottom of it, his other book, Saving Capitalism. Like, we gotta be able to break out of this vocabulary, like prison that we're in. And I get it. He's of that generation that has seen more effects of communism, and the generation that seems like they can't separate communism and socialism. And I don't want to spread anything that upholds that. So more than anything, I think I have a frustration with it, but I learned a lot, and it's almost what I almost learned, kind of what you want to learn turning on the news. Not local news, but like what's happening in the country. Like, there were times, this would be 10 years ago, more, where like on a lunch break, I would just be like, I'm gonna go to like CNN.com and like look around. Like, I was in a, I'm gonna say that, like, I was political enough, but I wasn't like checking news all the day, and not like obviously our current climate where like news is nonstop between Corona and everything in the world. Like, but I was curious, but then it got so difficult to obtain stuff like that. And so it felt like good journalism in that sense, but it also didn't. Well, it was frustrating because it didn't align with my values, is what I would say. It's very good work. It's incredible work. I'm sure a lot of his books are great, and I'm sure I'll probably read more of it. because I don't want to just read like an echo chamber, you know, like this, it kind of pushes it out of the bounds a little bit here, but it also makes you recognize someone who does post things that basically, like, if I hadn't read if the byline, the other book here was Saving Socialism, all of his tweets, everything would be the same. Like, everything he's putting out, all his messages, all point to the same thing, but too scared to say the word. And that's a major, like, parachute on a runner right now for this movement that needs to happen. Republican Party is not going to do it for us. Democratic Party is not going to do it for us. We need a socialist party. That's something we have to be able to get behind, and it can't just be young people. No offense to young people, but like, we have to have older people say, okay, maybe I haven't gotten a fair shake of socialism. Maybe we should talk about the difference between democratic socialism and communism, and know that we're not going to go to one and then snap to the other. Like, doesn't happen fast like that. Like, this is a very checked and balanced country. It's not going to work like that. And we already have socialist things in play. Like, there's so many things. And so I just, like, he almost went there with it. And maybe this is to help get people right up to that edge. And then he's like, someone else will take them further. Like, but yeah, very good book. It reminded me in a way of the Vice, like, movie documentary on the 2008 collapse that was, like, super insightful, but also it wasn't very critical of the main players. It just kind of told what happened, and then obviously we can surmise, like, well, that was a bad thing you did, like, and bailout and then massive bonuses. Well, okay, that guy's a prick. Like, but this is pretty much just like, these are the fucking jackasses. Here we go. Like, and it's frustrating because they still are in the same amount of power, if not more. So yeah, insightful book. Probably more worthwhile to follow him on social media versus this, where, I don't know. Yeah, I would give it a C. Yeah. So thank you for watching the video. Give a little thumbs up. Give a little subscribe. Maybe a comment.